What is up, YouTube? McIntyre here. Today I wanted to talk about the new TASSADAR rework and kind of show off my new favorite build for the character when it comes to playing him. If you guys didn't know, TASSADAR's been reworked into a ranged assassin. He's lost a lot of his utility and kind of his safeness and his shield talent at level 1 kind of at Q, and he also had deep shift with his E button, which would allow him to escape. They've now changed some things around. We have Force Wall given to us as our base kit ability on E, and we have a new ability called Shock Ray, where after a few seconds of channeling, he shoots out a laser beam that does slow and deal damage. The other big thing about him now is his passive resonance beam. Basically, as he attacks, you can see in the bottom left, it charges up. Once he gets to 100, it has an effect, and then there are talents that as long as you maintain 100 resonance, as you see it drops, I can attack again and maintain it again. As long as you stay at 100, your character will be stronger. He regenerates more, his basic attack damage deals more, and then obviously he gets effects under his talent tree that also affect him if he's at 100. So we'll go over the build really quick, and I will say that there are probably several builds for the character at this point, and I'm not even sure if this one's the best, but this is the one that I'm having the most fun with, especially since, his new mechanics, I really want to put them to the test. There are people out there that are obviously going to be picking Archon, and Archon is still there and really strong, but they also added a new heroic, which I like more, Black Hole. After a 0.5-second cast, you create a black hole that travels in a line. It's similar to like a bowling ball or like a Hanzo arrow. Anything that walks near it gets pulled into it, and then the people that hit the center of it actually get stunned and take damage. So abusing the fact that we now have a new heroic, I've kind of come up with this build. The idea of it is that you get big wombo damage when people group, and you're more of like a poke mage rather than the get in their face mage as the old TASSADAR used to be, and kind of bait cooldowns, right? You no longer have that ability to do so as much, so you really want to be back in the back lines, kind of poking, getting in damage when you can, and abusing the fact that you now have these new abilities, right? Like Shock Ray. Looking at the build now, it is going to be based around Shock Ray, as again I'm just trying to utilize some of the newer stuff. So at level 1, looking at his talents, he kind of has an auto attack one, a storm one, and a Q build. Heroes hit by Shock Ray permanently increase its damage by 4 and grant 33% resonance beam charge. This stacks up to 200. One thing that's important about this is you can maintain this kind of CD if you land your Q, right? It continues to grow. The other really nice part about this is actually the fact that if you're able to hit 3 targets, you're immediately at 100. So you can just, without having to stand still and auto attack like the laser beam, you're able to just, like, let's say on a Curse Hollow, the other team's rotating into you, you can just hit a Q, immediately have full beam, and now you're in your happy mana regeneration, bonus attack damage spot, right? So I think it's really good just to maintain resonance beam. It also pairs really nicely because it scales nicely as you're going to be casting your Shock Ray a fair amount with this build, and maintaining that charge on your resonance beam is going to be important. Plus, bonus damage, why not? So level 3, there's actually 3 different talents. A lot of people I've seen take plasma shield, and I think it is really strong. Basically, as long as you're at full beam, you start charging up shield equal to 3% of your max health, and that goes all the way to 15. As you just saw, stacking resonance beam to 100, only requires hitting 3 targets or attacking a wave and then trying to maintain. But while I think it is a good talent, especially against like poke comps and comps like Raynor coming up and auto attacking or something like that, I actually feel like Electric Fence is kind of the utility you need as the character to really be effective and annoying, because this is going to slow them. It's going to wall them, obviously, because it's on top of your force wall, so it allows your force wall to deal bonus damage and slow, which is going to make your Shock Rays easier. It's going to give your team the ability to get picks. Just the fact that you can cast this, right? It doesn't even have to be a perfectly casted wall. It just kind of needs to be in there general area, and then they'll get procced by the slow. They'll have to walk out of it in most cases, and sometimes walking out of it means walking around it. If we toggle cooldowns here really quickly and take this talent, or we don't even need to, I'll just wall myself off here, right? If I was trying to run this way and you walled, right, in order for me to get around it, I have to go this way, or I'd have to come off of it towards you, right, to avoid that slow and damage. Either case, I mean, you're getting someone out of position off of a basic cooldown. You're just casting Force Wall, boom, they're slowed, they're damaged. You probably guarantee you land your Shock Ray if you kind of can guess which way on the wall they're going. And it like allows for, follow-up CC, Murden, jump, stuns. He likes things being slowed. ETC slides, Arthas roots, as we see Arthas at the top of the screen. All these characters like initial slows to make their CCs easier. So being able to provide that with a level 4 talent smart that, you know, you do get rid of your kind of self-sustain in a sense, but you add a lot more utility to the character. Induction is another one. You know, obviously we're going a Shockwave build, but really all this does is give you movement speed, and in reality you really don't want to be running around. This is decent versus like a Bloodlust comp possibly, or a kind of a team that maybe dives after you, just being able to hit your Q and then run away and kite them. But for the most part you are going to be stationary, as you do need to kind of attack without moving, right? So keep that in mind. At level 4 for me in this build, Electric Fence is going to be the choice. So at level 7 now, we have a few new choices as well. We have something that basically every time we auto attack, when we have full beam, we're going to cast a Psionic Storm. Really strong talent, honestly. Just free damage just by existing. Sonic Echo is another very cool one. After you cast Sonic Storm, your next Shock Ray costs only 30 mana and creates a Sonic Storm on the first enemy hero hit. So this could be used, you know, shock him here, hit him with a Q, and then you double storm, right? That's a lot of burst damage. I think this talent's actually pretty strong as long as you use it correctly. I could see this being a good choice, but for me, I actually like beam alignment. While my beam is fully charged, I get increased basic attack range, and Shock Ray's cooldown refreshes 100% faster. So you guys can see here, if I use a Q, it's a 7-second CD. If I land it on more and I have 100, you know, that 7 seconds becomes like around 3.5, somewhere around there. So you can do this more often. Plus you're able to attack from a safer range. This gap right here is good enough to, you know, deal damage to things like a Vala without her being able to attack you. It's about the same range as a Rainer, pretty sure as well. You'll be able to outrange Hanzo. This is like an ETC slide, a Muradin Hammer, right? This space is important. That additional 1 range keeps you safe from a lot of things. Garrosh Q. I think at max range, Diablo Q might not even, you know, it's probably somewhere in here, right? So I think the increased attack range and the fact, oh, I didn't even take it. Okay, so here you go. You guys can actually see it here. Should be 3.5 seconds. So yeah, so much faster, right? So we're just kind of slowing them. We're dealing damage to them. This is reducing. We're slowing them. We're dealing damage to them. This is reducing. So this is the sort of core of the build and how it'll be played a lot of the time. So now at level 10, we are going to take Black Hole, and I can cast that for you guys here. I'll toggle cooldowns. It's pretty far range, actually, like more than pretty far. It is far. And you kind of throw this and you can see people get pulled in and stunned. So this is like really good on maps that have big chokes, right? As you're able to kind of like Cursed Hollow, for example, right? Big tunnels. Whereas like a map that's more objective based, maybe like a Battlefield of Eternity where there's a lot more space, you could see it being a little weaker. But I think the core idea of it is that it actually forces the hand of the other team. It's also fairly good follow-up. And in its self-peel, like if something were to be walking near you and you were to black hole them, it would pull them back. You see that? You see how the target dummy got pulled back there? So it kind of pulls them away from you too. So if people get right in your face, which will happen on task, because like you have no escape anymore, then you can just black hole. You immediately will get the stun, right? And then you can do your full combo on top of the black hole. All right, you would black hole, storm Q, and then you chunk them out. You know, again, if you had taken the Sonic Echo for the double storm, that's even more damage. But you're really poking and fishing with your cube before you get to that point. So Black Hole, really strong heroic. I mean, I even had talked about in the video with Paradox that I wanted him to have an impactful heroic, and here they've added it. Something similar to even Hanzo's arrow. And yeah, we got it with Black Hole, so I've been having a lot of fun using it. So looking at level 13, these are all, again, tech talents, usually what the 13 talent tier is about. They all do really good things. Here we have, you know, while some character is under the effect of Sonic Storm, your beam is going to reduce their physical armor and slow them. This is really strong if like you're against a team where you can auto attack a lot. Shadow Walk is basically Tassadar's old E, but a little weaker. Obviously with the old E, you were just non-existent in the game, but with this one you're unrevealable, so you're basically like a stealth to Nova when she pushes her talent that is built in that makes her invisible and creates a clone for 1.5 seconds, and you also get movement speed and armor, so you can use it as like a defensive CD as well. If you're gonna take a pyroblast, you can activate this and get some armor, potentially save yourself. So in my opinion, I actually think Shadow Walk is pretty good. It also allows you to like reposition to a new angle, so maybe get to a better position for a black hole or for a force wall, something like that. This talent is really strong. Oracle is the other one is also fairly strong. It's a vision. You can basically clairvoyance an area on the map, but the passive of it is that if you stand still, you gain spell armor and restore some health. So you can like sustain yourself while you're waiting for a fight, or like you just took a damage exchange and then now you're sustaining yourself again. This is really good versus characters that are going to try to punish you when you stand still too. Things like Chromie and Li Ming. Even I saw someone take this against a Tracer who bombed the task and then the task would stand still. It is a very unique talent, but I think there are circumstances where it's really strong. But for the most part, Shadow Walk is generally just stronger. So now looking at our level 16 talents, there are a few really good choices here. Thermal Lance, this is going to be your percent health ability, 8% for the first hero hit. This is important. It doesn't just 8% through everything you hit, but this can be really good versus Diablos and Stitches, things like that have high health pools, Deathwing especially. And I don't think that this is a bad talent. I think that the general talent that I would probably take is Psychic Shock, and a lot of that has to come down to the fact of the level 20 talent that I like to choose. But Executioner's Will is also very strong. Activating it gives you 15% spell power when you're full beam. Actually, sorry, you gain full beam. So then you get 15% spell power. Your basics and heroic abilities all regenerate 25% faster. So that's Black Hole. That's everything. So long as you continue to keep Resonance Beam charged. So this is like a okay time to fight button, and I do think this one's pretty good. But this is going to be the most difficult of the bunch, because once you activate it, you must maintain it, right? But as long as it's maintained via auto attacks, right, or landing your lasers, it is very strong. You can see here how fast Q actually regens, right? And this is like all of his abilities are going to be regening much faster during this time period, including his heroic. So this is going to increase your damage by 15% flat, and it's going to reduce the CDs of all of your abilities, which is going to increase your damage obviously. But I will say I do like Psychic Shock at level 16, because at level 20 I like taking this 20 talent for Black Hole, where each enemy hero hit by the center of the black hole creates a sonic storm at their location. So it looks something, let's add the spell power like that, right? And they're getting hit by each storm to add like big damage, like just massive damages. You can see every one of those storms are critting. And if I had taken this talent here, we'll actually live test it right here in this video. So let's see. So let's let this damage reset. I think I can recreate pretty much doing this damage combo for both cases. So if I hit this, I storm, Q, Black Hole. Let's see how much damage that's gonna do. Try not to auto attack. So 10,000 damage. Okay, so let's reset our talents. Let's do the same build to make sure that we can finish the quest as well. That's important. Q, Black Hole, Shadow Walk. Now we go Psychic Shock here, right? So this is gonna make our storms deal 25% faster damage. So they get 2 extra ticks off of damage. Obviously they scale per tick of damage, so they should be doing 100% 3 times. Then we'll complete quest. So we have our laser. So we'll Q first, then we'll do our E. Now we'll Black Hole. See if you see the 170, 67s. Yeah, so that's just more DPS. Obviously, they have to stand in that, but it's not situational either in the fact that if you W the wave, you always get that damage, and that actually one-shots waves. Without the talent, you won't one-shot the wave, which is another major selling point on Psychic Shock, is the fact that you can one-storm waves. Similar to like you used to double cast storm on waves, right? Now you just single, it's even easier, but you still get the same results. You can see there. Not only does it synergize really nicely with your level 20 talent, but it also just increases your ability to wave clear. I will say like the CDR, you can consider it. Obviously, it's going to increase your total damage just because you'll be able to up your Q more often, but your Q is already at a 3.5 second CD. So you really don't, you'd only be working your CDs on your other cooldowns when it comes to that. So this is kind of the build. This is what I've been playing, at least. These are the talents that have found me the most fun. I don't know if they're the most successful, but I do think that this is a new and unique way to play the character that you just couldn't play before. And I will say that there are some talking points on the fact that you can't deep shift out anymore, guys. You cannot position like you can. TASSADARs are going to have a hard time breaking that mindset and mentality when it comes to this character. So used to like being able to shield yourself, absorb this damage, get really low, hit E, bounce out, shield yourself again, Archon, then you can E again. Like before, there was just so many get out of jail cards, and you do not have that anymore, right? You have to play the character character as if you're Chromie in the way that you position in team fights. Just be mindful of that. He does do a good amount of damage. Again, his black hole is super impactful, especially if you can line it up with some other CCs or follow up CCs with it. He obviously can still wave clear great. He does have Storm, and Psychic Shock at 16 allows him to one-shot waves, which is so good for like proxying and setting up rotations, you know, to be able to send tasks to a lane to have him cast his W, immediately mount up and re-rotate back to the team. Being able to do that still is so strong. But this is the build I like. What I want from you guys in the comment section below is to hit me up with what build do you guys think is correct. I'm honestly curious, as I've only had so many games as him. Obviously he's like picked and banned a good amount right now. I have had a few, and of those games I've played this build, I've enjoyed it. I've watched the Archon build in action. It just seems like with the Archon build, you know, he wants to have the shield and the ability to go deep shift away and then reset, or deep shift into their team and Archon, right? Without it, he's still just kind of like a, hey, we can kill that guy now, right? That's what the other team feels like. And obviously Shadow Walk helps a lot to get you out of that situation, as you can kind of, you know, it's like, it looks like dark. It's pretty much deep shift. Overall, this character is a lot of fun. I enjoyed this rework. If you want to check out too, me and Knock Paradox did a kind of guess at what this character would be and talents and where we would see TASSADAR as a ranged assassin on our YouTube channel. If you want to go check that out, we pretty much guessed a lot of what the character would be. So I'm pretty proud about it, as we had no real knowledge of the character and they hadn't even leaked anything other than he would be a ranged assassin. That video should hopefully be somewhere here on the screen. Thank you guys all so much. I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you enjoy this build. It brings you success in your Storm League new season. This is going to be it for me as McIntyre. Make sure to throw a like and subscribe to the channel. Until the next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you then. Cheers.